Hello, Mark here, also known as Hardscape. This video is just to give you some hints and tips and hopefully help you when setting up a low-tech aquarium. Here I'm using some driftwood which I've attached to some plastic egg crate. All I've done is drill a couple of holes in the base of the wood and use zip ties to attach. Once you've placed some stones on, which is dragon stone which I'm using here, it actually weighs the wood down to prevent floating when filling, which is a nightmare. So I'm just being extra cautious here to make sure the wood doesn't float. The composition I'm actually aiming for here is a triangular composition, so the main piece of wood slightly to the right and everything will come down gradual to the left, and that's the actual look I'm looking for. So keep on using the dragon stones to secure the wood in place, but also look pleasing to the eye. You can use the actual details of the stone and the lines of the wood to get a nice flow. And here I'm using an extra piece of driftwood, a smaller piece, to continue those lines and continue with that triangular composition. So it's just a case of tweaking it here and there to get the direction which you're looking for in your composition. This is my actual favourite part of aquascaping. I love the hardscaping process, being creative and just taking your time with it. The main backbone of the structure, the composition, is pretty much there, but I'm continuously tweaking and changing the direction of the wood and the stone. And then I add the substrate, the sand. The sand I've chose has a really nice orange hue to it, so I think it goes perfectly with the dragonstone and the driftwood. Because it's for decorative purposes only, we won't be planting anything in any soil or in the sand substrate. We can just use a thin layer. And here I'm using a great tool, a simple paintbrush, unused of course, to get the sand in all those little nooks and crannies between the stone and wood. Whenever I'm creating an aquascape, when I'm using a particular stone, I always like to get more of that stone and take it outside with a mash hammer and crush it up to get some smaller pieces to add some of the finer details. As I was adding the smaller stones and I was having a closer look at the full composition, I found that there was a bit too much empty space. So where I'm adding the stone here and on the right hand side, I thought it was a little too open. So I started adding more stones. Doing this would also allow me to add more epiphyte plants, which I mentioned earlier in the video. I did add some finer details with a different gravel, a finer grade gravel. So I used this to get the grade from the dragonstone gravel onto the sand, but unfortunately I forgot to film this. But as you can see in this next clip, we've got the finer details with the gravel, dragonstone, sand, and that's the hardscape complete. Okay, so now we're adding plants. Here I'm adding trident fern, and I've mentioned earlier in the video that these plants attach to wood and stone, so we're just squeezing into the gaps, nooks and crannies, or you can use a aquarium safe glue to glue into the hardscape. So this is the main focal plant here, the trident fern. All the plants I've selected for this particular setup are suitable for a low-tech aquascape. And what I mean by low-tech, or low energy you could call it, is these plants can do well with lower levels of light, so you don't need expensive high intensity lights, and you don't need to inject CO2, and that makes it much easier. So the plants selected all attached to wood and stone as well. We don't have to plant in soil. And here I'm using my personal fave. This is a Nubius Petite. I love this plant. Gorgeous. This is the third and final plant I'm actually using. This is Bucephalandra ketigang. Buse is what it's known as. Really popular, undemanding plant. That's planting complete. All plants attached to wood and stone. Nothing's had to be planted in soil. Perfect for beginners. Perfect for low-tech aquascapes which don't need the high demand of light and you don't need to inject CO2. I really hope you found this video of use, inspirational. You're getting some tips from the video. So the best of luck with your aquascaping at home. The main thing is just enjoy the process. And what I'll do now is leave you some nice footage of the completed aquascape. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.